Just like in Pokemon Legends Arceus, it is likely that we will see a number of Pokemon in Pokemon Legends ZA get new forms of some kind, whether that's in the form of a Mega Evolution, a regional variant, or something else. And now that we have seen our first look at gameplay for this game, I would like to show you some Pokemon that I think have a real shot at getting new forms in this game, and I'm also going to show you what they could look like. I'm going to start things off here with the Pokemon that had me thinking about this in the first place, and that is Chandelure and Krookodile. These two have been confirmed to be in the game thanks to the Pokemon that we've seen in the trailers, and when I was perusing the list of confirmed Pokemon so far and saw these two, I just had this instant gut reaction that these two are absolutely destined for a Mega Evolution. From my perspective, Chandelure and Krookodile are the exact, and I mean the exact kind of Pokemon that Megas were practically made for. They're regular, standard, non-special Pokemon that aren't already too overpowered, but are nevertheless very popular, and it would do wonders for them to have a Mega Evolution. If you look at the list of Mega Evolutions right now, it is absolutely littered with this exact kind of Pokemon archetype, with Pokemon like Scizor, Gardevoir, Ampharos, Gengar, Lucario, Absol, and the list goes on and on. These two feel like absolutely golden candidates to receive a Mega in this game, in my opinion, and the fact that we now know they're going to be in the game as well just makes them beyond perfect for the Mega treatment. These two designs should give you an idea of what Mega Chandelure and Mega Krookodile would look like if that actually happened, and I feel like these are actually pretty accurate representations of what we would legitimately see. These two retain their respective typings, and I honestly think that's how it would actually go for them, considering that they're both dual-typed already, and both of their types are pretty intrinsically tied to who these two are as Pokemon. So at that point, it really just comes down to gaining those stronger features that are typical of Mega Evolved Pokemon, and that is kind of another reason why these two feel so perfect for that treatment, because it feels like that would just apply so well to their respective designs, and I feel like that is what these designs show. So, assuming that we are going to get new Megas in this game, which basically feels like a foregone conclusion at this point, I think these two should be at the top of the list to get one. And something that should be at the top of your list to get is today's sponsor, Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. These guys send boxes of goodies right to your door every month. And who doesn't like goodies? To make it even better, they also come straight from Japan, so you can try stuff that you wouldn't get anywhere else, like these strawberry shortcake Kit Kats. It's also a great time to grab a box because this month's boxes are themed around the Sakura season, which I feel like is one of the most iconic Japanese things out there, and along with that, all of the stuff in these boxes are Sakura themed. Sakura Co, for instance, is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that specializes in traditional Japanese treats, and it features some cherry blossom tea with actual cherry blossoms. These particular boxes also come with a piece of tableware every month, and this month, it's this really nice Sakura-themed glass, and this is honestly the first glass that I have ever seen come from these boxes, so you're gonna want to scoop it up while you can, and you can do so by clicking the link in the description and using code HOOPS at checkout for $5 off your first box. This would also make for a great gift as we enter into spring. You could give it to your friend for making it out of winter alive, and it also directly supports the channel and helps out videos like this when you grab one, which is super appreciated. So be sure to check that out with the link in the description, and thanks to Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co for sponsoring. It is not just Megas that I wanted to talk about though. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, other things such as regional variants are also very possible for this game as well, and I wanted to explore what Pokemon could be primed for this sort of spotlight in ZA. With that in mind, one Pokemon in particular that came to mind was Magcargo. Magcargo is pretty much your prototypical Pokemon that is due for some spotlight. It's fairly forgotten about despite not really being unpopular. It also doesn't have the greatest stats ever, and it's just the kind of Pokemon that you could really easily gloss over. And that is exactly why it would be perfect for a new form. And for ZA, it would be especially perfect because it already has some French connection in its name, and therefore is the perfect Pokemon to highlight in Kalos. With that in mind, I came up with something that admittedly I don't know whether or not it would happen in this exact way, but I feel like it would be a great way to go, and that is giving Magcargo its own convergent Pokemon. This is Magcargo, and I feel like this design is pretty perfect because it honestly just writes itself. With convergent Pokemon, they are more or less the same as their counterpart, but just based on something different. So like with Poltergeist, for instance, it's based on matcha instead of tea, or with Toadschool, it's a mushroom instead of a jellyfish. So, while Magcargo is comprised of lava, Magcargo is comprised of goo. This comes together perfectly in terms of concept because goo obviously works as a pretty seamless replacement for Magcargo's lava-based body, and that can be incorporated into this Pokemon's name simply by just adding one O onto the end of it, which is the exact kind of very simple name change compared to their counterpart that all of the official convergent Pokemon use. Since it is based on goo, Magcargo is also a poison type compared to Magcargo's fire rock. And another fun feature of its design is that Magcargo's shell, which was that rock part of its design, becomes a heap of garbage in Magcargo's design, which just helps this to be a perfect fit even more in my opinion. And that particular feature was courtesy of my guy Rgreywind, who I commissioned for these designs, and as always, if you would like, you can check him out with the links in the description. The only thing that holds this concept back in terms of likelihood is that with convergent Pokemon being a Scarlet and Violet thing, it is hard to know at this point if they are going to continue on past those games. But given that they are similar to regional variants and those have become a regular thing, it could be possible that these will continue on too. And if they did, Magcargo would be a great way to go in Legends ZA. Another type of quote-unquote new form that we could see in this game is a new standard evolution of an older Pokemon. Since Sword and Shield, this is something that has become pretty standard in Pokemon games again, and it was also a prominent feature of Pokemon Legends Arceus as well, so I would honestly expect it to happen in Legends ZA, if it weren't for Mega Evolution. Since normal evolutions and mega evolutions are pretty similar obviously, it makes the possibility of new standard evolutions a bit murky in my opinion, since megas are obviously the focus in this title. But at the same time, I wouldn't exactly be surprised either if they did appear, and obviously it is something that we would all love to see, and if we did get to see it, I think an evolution of Granbull would be a perfect fit. This is terrible, and it is something that I think would be so cool to see. Kinda similar to Magcargo, Snubbull and Granbull are Pokemon that have kind of fallen by the wayside, even though Snubbull was actually a sort of mascot for Gen 2 when it was first introduced, as one of the very first Johto Pokemon that were ever revealed. Additionally, Snubbull and Granbull also give off some major Kalos vibes, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking that. They obviously were given the fairy type when Kalos was first introduced, and between that and the fact that they're based on bulldogs, they're pretty much French bulldogs now, so what better time to give this Pokemon that needs some spotlight that exact treatment than now in Legends ZA. For those reasons, Granbull is also a perfect candidate for a Mega Evolution too, but for the sake of this video, I just wanted to go ahead and explore what a standard evolution of this Pokemon could be like. And upon evolving, Terrible gains the Fighting type and becomes a Fairy Fighting type Pokemon. And that is due to its very macho appearance and aggressive nature that it builds upon from Granbull. This comes from it also building upon the guard dog trope that Granbull seems to be inspired by as well, but with Terrible, that becomes fully realized upon its evolution. I also especially love how in this design, its tail resembles the chain that guard dogs are often shown to be restrained by, and overall, I really enjoy how this design turned out. I think if Granbull were to get an evolution like this, it could do for Granbull what Annihilate did for Primeape and Mankey, and that is take them from pretty forgettable and unused Pokemon to completely relevant and totally cool in one fell swoop. And with new evolutions being a possibility in Legend ZA, and this obviously being a perfect fit, Granbull is definitely a Pokemon that should be getting a new form in this game. Pretty much since Legend ZA was revealed and it was confirmed that Mega Evolution would be coming back, the first Pokemon I have thought of that just has to get a Mega, other than Flygon for obvious reasons, is Pyroar. Pyroar is super significant to the plot of the Kalos games as the signature Pokemon of Lysander, and on top of that, it's always been a Pokemon that most have agreed has the potential to do more. So now that Megas are coming back, I feel like it would be a crime to not include Mega Pyroar in Legend ZA, especially when this is what it could look like. I thought of this particular Mega Evolution as being something that both the female and male Pyroar forms could Mega Evolve into, similar to what we see with Appleton and Flapple with their Gigantamax form. As a part of this, I also wanted to blend a little bit of both of them into this design, such as with the mane, which is meant to kinda be a combination of the male and female manes. Its nails also become scorching hot upon Mega Evolving, similar to what we see in Mega Houndoom, and it also replaces its normal type that it has in its regular form with the Fighting type upon Mega Evolving, so it is now Fire Fighting type. It feels like if Pyroar got a Mega, that the normal type would definitely have to be replaced with something else, and I just felt like Fighting is something that made for a good fit. I think all of these Pokemon would be a good fit for Legend ZA though, and could absolutely get a new form of some kind. So you will have to let me know which one you would like to see the most in the comments. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed as well, subscribe for more, and I will be back with another new video very soon. Until then, as always, thanks so much for watching this one, I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.